Welcome back to Wednesday, and it's the Ask Uncle Lee show. Right. Let's get into the questions. Welcome to my channel. You are entering the world of magic and mysticism with your host, Lee W. Johnson. Keep the lights on and help improve the channel by becoming a supporter for just $2.99 per month. Hit the join button. Right, straight into the questions, and if you do have questions, because I need more, so please ask away. Anybody who has questions, drop them in the comments and I can add them to the list, but I am running out, so in order to keep this going, we need questions. All right. The question is from Def Lep Radar. I'm currently reading Honoring Death, then we'll work on Necromantic Sacraments. I've also been studying the Necromantic and Psychopomp Daemons and Spirits, mostly Goetic and Ducant. I've read that Keys of Ocat is reserved for very experienced practitioners. How advanced should you be before starting that? I'd also like to know of any other recommended books on necromancy practice and death magic. Sorry, I was going to go and research some more books on necromancy, and I completely and utterly forgot. But what I'll try and do is add that somewhere at a later stage. Anyway, so Keys of Ocat involves gate opening, which is why it is considered to be more advanced. And there's really simple reason for this. It's not that it's dangerous or anything like that. It can be, I suppose. The main thing is when you're working with the gates, when you open the gates, what you're doing is you are kind of working with raw energy. And for somebody who's not at the point where they're used to, or they would be able to deal with that raw energy, it can be very disorientating, and it can kind of knock you on your feet. It can. It doesn't always, but there is a possibility, and so therefore it's usually considered to be a more advanced practice. Now, I mean, when we look at gate opening, we kind of open gates all the time. We open gates to different realms, and that energy comes through. I mean, you can look at it on a very simple basis of, for instance, I know within practical Kabbalah, if we open the gate to one of the Sephirah, all it really does is change our attitude. It kind of changes the way people view us. So you may have, if you take like Tiferet compared to Gevura, if you open Tiferet, people will probably see you as very beautiful and they'll love you. It doesn't matter what you say to them, they're going to love you, and they're going to think you're incredibly beautiful. Whereas if you have Gevura open, you kind of come across a bit more abrasive, and people will probably dislike you. So if two people, one's opened Tiferet and the other one has opened Gevura, naturally, then these two people tell exactly the same joke in exactly the same way, and they're going to get two completely different responses from the audience, from the people that are around them. But we do this naturally. We have particular gates that we have open all the time, gates to that sort of energy, the energy flow, and we can open another gate to bring in a different energy flow in order to change things, change directions in our life and things like that. So there's a very subtle aspect to gate opening, but then there is this, and this is very, very much found within Connolly's work in regards to gate opening, is that when we open the gates, we kind of access raw energy, raw power. And that can be very potent, powerful, and it literally can knock you on your feet. Which is why somebody who isn't ready for that, it could really disturb them. And that's really the only reason why, or I can think of, why it would be a more advanced practice. It's just, working yourself or your way up to that point where you can actually deal with it. But that's really it. And I'll try and come back. I can't think of any offhand. I know I've read plenty over the years. I think it's mostly been websites, people dealing with the angel of death and such things, death magic. But I'll have to come back to that. I'll give it some thought, some further thought. Let me just make sure I've got the right one as the next one. Here we go. The Poison Reaper. Thanks for answering my question. Another question. Can you gain new recruits to your spiritual group familiars if you search a haunted area, and can wearing a Pazuzu pendant halt that process? I'm not sure why a Pazuzu pendant would halt such a process. However, gaining new recruits to your spiritual group of familiars in a haunted area, I wouldn't really advise. If it's a haunted area, you're probably working with lower energy entities. Therefore, you're going to start picking up astral parasites. You're going to pick up imposter spirits, and all such spirits, entities that you don't really want to deal with. There's no use for them. All they're going to do is just infiltrate your life and suck you dry. They're going to suck your life energy from you, and you're going to become anxious, depressed, fearful. What's the point of all of that? You may find some useful spirits if you know how to discern. If your discernment practice or ability is up to scratch, maybe, but if it's not, you're just going to go in and pick up imposter spirits left, right and centre. But if you do have discernment down pat, then you could possibly find some disembodied entities that could be helpful, but it's not really something I would bother doing. It's the difficulties you're facing with that type of thing are just way too high. If you want to do it, then go ahead and do it. But I would say no, don't bother. And wearing a Pazuzu pendant, really not sure why that would halt the process of that anyway. Sorry, not really much of an answer for that one. Anyway, so going on to, I think this is Mr. Mutt, MRMHT. Okay, I think that's how you pronounce that. Honest question for your view on this. Is it so that the Ars Goetia demons actually are more friendly towards non-Jewish, as in this world we are as them? Because if the Jewish people will enter heaven, but the Ars Goetia demons were kicked out from it, and Lucifer gave us, the non-Jewish, the forbidden wisdom that Jewish people are not allowed to hear or teach, does that make the Ars Goetia demons automatically want to help most non-Jewish? If we look at many worldly achievements they have been made by actual pagans, the Greeks, the Roman Empire, the High Middle Ages, arguably very pagan with many deities, as Old Catholicism is basically having many lower gods, veneration of saints you pray to. Most things only got fucked up for non-Jewish people once they tried to adopt the extreme monotheism style prayers. Just a random thought. Okay, there's a lot in there. Let's start with the first bit. So, first of all, non or Jewish people going to heaven. you may have things a bit mixed up here. So, in Judaism, the cosmology of the Jewish people is actually a tripartite cosmology, and you'll probably recognize this as being familiar to the majority of pagan cosmologies. So if we consider heaven, that's Shamayim, which is actually the abode of, or the residence of God and the heavenly beings. Then we have Eretz, which is earth, so that's the home of the living, us. And then Sheol, which kind of translates to common grave, and that's the land of the dead. So when we die, we go to Sheol. We don't go to heaven, well, in the Jewish cosmology, as far as I know anyway. So yeah, I don't think we would be entertaining the idea that Jewish people go to heaven, and therefore the Goetia demons wouldn't like to work with them because they were kicked out of heaven. What you're looking at there is really a Christian worldview, a Christian cosmology, and and Islamic. So it all really depends on your own worldview. I'm not Christian. I don't follow a Christian worldview, and therefore I don't believe in the idea of a Christian heaven and hell. So I don't think the Goetia demons were kicked out of heaven. And the fall of man and the fall, all these things were just really the way the emanation actually progressed from a more energetic level down to a more physical level. But yeah, it's a bit difficult because there's a lot of different worldviews, and my worldview is different to yours, etc., etc. But let me just see. Are they more friendly towards non-Jewish people? I can't even say that, because it doesn't matter what religion somebody comes from. They may just not get along with the particular energy which the Goetia demons or the Goetia spirits actually have. It doesn't matter if they're magicians or not, or whether they're pagans. If the chemistry is not there, it's just not there. So it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what tradition you come from, what faith you come from, what religion you come from, what walk of life you come from. If two entities don't have the proper chemistry to match or to come together, then it's just not going to happen, and there's nothing we can do about that. So it's got nothing to do with whether you are Jewish, Christian, or not. It's really about if your energies actually match. The second part of that question, if we look at many worldly achievements, they have been made by actual pagans. If we consider pre-Christianity to Christianity, the ages, the millennia before Christianity came about is immense. It's a huge amount of time. So a huge amount of development would have happened during that period, and then Christianity came along. That's only a short period in the history. Worldly achievements would be because the simple fact that the pre-Christians were around a lot longer than the Christians. Arguably very pagan, with many deities, as old Catholicism is basically having many lower gods, veneration of saints you pray to. Okay. Most things got fucked up for non-Jewish people once they tried to adopt the extreme monotheism style prayers. Prayers have been around a lot longer than Christianity and monotheism itself. That's, prayer is prayer. It's a devotion to a higher being. It's petitioning a higher being. Prayer has been around on for a very, very, very extremely long time. Pre-Christian, way pre-Christian, right back to when the first person decided that the sun, for instance, was a divine being, and they prayed to the sun. Help with the crops, come up every day. Disappears during the winter months, goes and hides, and then comes back during the summer months. So there's this divine aspect to this heavenly body that they could see moving through the sky, and they would pray to it. That's prayer. I mean, that's prayer to a divine being. That was around a lot longer than monotheism. So yeah. Sorry, I'm really not sure if any of that helps you understand or help to answer those questions. Kind of tricky and difficult to actually answer because of the wide variety of worldviews that we actually have. All right, I'm going to leave it there because it seems I don't have the rest of the questions. There's only 2 questions left, so please remember to put questions in the comments below. All right, and I'll see you next time. Cheers for now. Bye-bye.